Hello, boys and girls. I thought that since the new season of Diablo 4 is here in like less than an hour, I thought I'd make a build guide. Well, I've done like the build, and I thought I would get it out to you then. And I am kind of excited for the new buffs or treatment of concealment with this guy over here, the resistant assailants rune aspect, which says breaking concealment grants 10% resistance and maximum resistance to all elements for 4 seconds. Killing an elite enemy reduces concealment's cooldown by up to 10 seconds. That sounds very nice, and I'm doing this mostly because of, for me, Rogue has always been the fantasy about being, a stealthy dagger or bow wielding character, like weaving in and out of shadows, remaining unseen. Like the stealth is the main form of defense. So maybe it's gonna be a shitty build, but I'm all for the fantasy and the roleplay aspect. So I'm gonna try this, and I thought like, hey, why not share it with people? Maybe someone likes it as well. So yeah, this has like a leveling part and an end game part. I thought because just try it out and see how far I can go before it's going to become like like no good. And I'm gonna start with World Tier 1 with this build. I think that's kind of good since it's not like a meta build. But yeah, let's get into the gear. So I thought like I get everything that has some kind of stealth to do with it, some kind of stealthy aspects. So here we have the Uncanny Treachery, dealing direct damage to a dazed enemy with an agility skill. That's like dash and shadow step, so we're gonna do them quite a lot. That would grant stealth for 4 seconds, and breaking stealth with an attack grants 45% control impaired duration reduction for 4 seconds. And that sounds pretty defensive and good. And let's see, yeah, there is reduced cooldown there, that's good. And with the gloves, using an agility skill reduces the cooldown of your next subterfuge skill by 20%. Using a subterfuge skill increases the damage of your next agility skill by 50%. You see there's already this synergy between like subterfuge, the concealment, and mobility skills, agility. And those are like general staples of most builds, so these I don't like these, you will use this anyway, so I thought like why not try to build something cool around it and combine it with the new concealment. And evading through an enemy infected by shadow imbuement grants stealth for 4 seconds. Breaking stealth with an attack grants 5% maximum life per kill per 6 seconds. So even more stealth, even more defenses. Super good so far. And yeah, of course, we're running shadow imbuement for that shadow stealth rogue kind of feeling. And let's see, yeah, Shadow Step has an additional charge, just even more opportunity to proc the stealth. And killing an enemy with Shadow Step refunds a charge and increases the damage of Shadow Step. Yeah, the damage part and these things aren't not so important for this kind of setup. It's just to have like another way to trigger concealment or a trigger stealth. That's pretty much it there. And for the weapon, yeah, it's some twisting blades build, so yeah, of course blade dancers aspect have it there, standard. The amulet, I'm going with imbuement skills to make them a little bit beefier. And here we have when you break stealth with an attack, you drop a cluster of exploding stun grenades around your location that deals 6,711 total physical damage and stun the enemies. This is also an aspect of it, like because the breaking stealth is gonna be a lot, like all the time. So it's going to be a lot of CC, and that works good, well, it synergizes with a lot of the skills of the rogue. And when you evade or shadow step, you leave behind a cluster of exploding stun grenades. Even more stun, you see where I'm going with this? Hello grenades, hello stun. So yeah, that deal 1,491 total physical damage and stun the enemies for half a second. Yeah. And the daggers, I have chose to go with critical strikes with core skills, increases your attack speed by 25%. I'm sure there's something better, but just attacking fast just feels like the rogue kind of thing. So yeah. And when you spend 100 energy, you release a cluster of exploding stun grenades. You see, even more stun. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so hopefully it's gonna be like strong CC, strong defenses, and a lot of stealth. So yeah, maybe damage gonna be lacking, probably. But you know, it's just a fun kind of build, trying to build into the stealth aspect of this rogue class. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna tweak it a lot along the way and see if I can make it viable. But yeah, this is what I'm gonna start with. And for skills, of course, visiting blades. I can go into the skill tree actually. Yeah, see here. And of course, puncture, that's like standard. But I have been thinking about why not try to use blade shift since they buffed that a little bit. Or even invigorating strike. You know, you get more energy regeneration and stuff with that. And blade shift is just good generally for melee because it lets you move freely through enemies and increases movement speed. So yeah, I have to consider that. But yeah, puncture is of course very practical because it's ranged and you can use like the close quarter combat key passive. But I don't know, I should look into blade shift or invigorating strikes more. It's more like, you know, it's roguey archetype skills. But yeah, so for that one, and then of course 5 out of 5 in twisting blades, the enhanced twisting blades, and then the basic one, so 4cc. And then I've chosen to take the stutter step to increase movement speed because why not? It's cool. But if movement speed isn't like if we don't need that anymore, if we have enough from all the other bonuses, like from gear and other skills, then we can like get some passives here maybe, like siphoning strikes or sturdy. So yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room in this build. And then, of course, Shadow Step, staple for most builds, and going into the Disciplined Shadow Step through cooldown. And I chose to go into the enhancement for Dash actually because the reduced cooldown there as well. Because like more dashes, more ways to proc the concealment and these things. So thought I'd try it out. And the Invade cooldown is just like rogue kind of thing. Like rogues, you want to evade a lot of things, being agile and dodgy and these things. I just thought it was appropriate with class fantasy. And then, of course, weapon mastery to get some extra damage out of those daggers. Moving on, here in the concealment tree and subterfuge tree, I have chosen to try to lean into this like dodge aspect. Like increasing dodge chance there when using cooldown, and like when stealth heal 12% every second. That's crazy. That's like a lot of health. And since we're gonna be weaving in and out of stealth a lot with this build, I don't see how healing would be an issue. You know, I think this build, if anything, is going to be very defensive. And yeah, of course, concealment. I've only put 1 point in this because you know I want to try it out, but. As I said, I can probably go back and forth with these skills a bit to see like quite the feeling of the build, see where it's going. But for now, yeah, vanish from sight, gain advanced form of stealth, 5 seconds. I will not be removed by taking damage. That's so good. And makes you unstoppable. That's like you can throw in T-Bolt's will with this build. Later, like in the end game version, and probably get a lot of more resource generation and these things. So yeah, there's a lot of you can go a lot of ways with this build. And movement speed, so yeah, moving freely through enemies. It will break concealment, of course, but yeah, it's like feels like a really roguey kind of skill. So I'm glad that they have released this resistant assailant aspect to and try to lean more into this like class fantasy of the rogue. A little bit like they did in Legion, the World of Warcraft expansion. I love that. And yeah, go into enhanced stealth, 40 energy, so yeah, a lot of energy, resource regeneration, and the skill that breaks concealment always make enemies vulnerable. Seconds, that just feels like the right way to go. Otherwise, you can do this that guarantees a crit, but I think we're gonna have a lot of crit already, and I think vulnerability is more viable. But as I said, I will try things out and see which way I wanna go. Apart from that, we have exploit and malice, kind of staples as well. So just 18% increased damage to healthy and injured enemies. Gonna be a lot. and 9% increased damage to vulnerable. Yeah. And then the shadow imbuement, of course. Took 1 point there. I should probably put more points in this one, but I just wanted like to make a rough outline of the build for now. See where I want to go with it. This is gonna be our main damage dealer, and then for bosses, yeah, you can just switch it out for poison imbuement. But I want to try with this because there's some good synergy with the Night Stalker Paragon that I will get to with. That's why I want to lean more into Shadow Imbue. But yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room. Can go poison or maybe even cold with the new enhancements to that one for bosses or tough elites. But yeah, Shadow for now, and 15% increased crit strike chance against injured enemies. Yeah, very good. And the explosion makes vulnerable. But I think that there's an argument to take this one, that it will increase the non-physical damage that enemies take by 12% for seconds. So yeah, I will have to see where I want to go with that one. But yeah, another source of vulnerability is always good. And then of course Shadow Crash, 10% chance to stun, that's always good, more CC, and each time you get an enemy with shadow damage you generate energy. Might not be needed with since we're gonna have a lot of resource regeneration, but like why not? Why not start there in the beginning in leveling? Resource regeneration is always kind of an issue, so why not? And here, yeah, unlucky hit, even more resource maybe. It's a bit overkill with resource. But yeah, increased lucky hit chance, lucky hit chance. Yeah, I can really lean into those more. Actually, I can. Maybe down the road, but now I just want to see like if I can max resource regeneration, so we can just spam those tasty twisting blades. But I am probably going overboard with all the resources because we're gonna have so much from concealment alone and all this. But yeah, so there's a lot of wiggle room. You can just like put points into this one or this one, or wherever you want to go really. Like more here while moving, and that's even more resource. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to go with this build. That's what I want to say. A lot of freedom. And since it's a leveling build, and since they have buffed the momentum, I thought like, why not? Why not lean into that one? It's also very roguey. Like you get even faster, and you get more energy generation and damage reduction. So yeah, it's like way to go. And that's it for the leveling. That Paragon, that's of course on level 50, so I'll go through the end game build a little bit before Paragon points. And the end game is not so different. We just look at the gear. I've changed to from inner sight to combo points instead. That's pretty much it. And I have just thrown in some uniques that might be not like a worthy upgrade, but I thought like we're going with combo points, why not take the combo point dagger and see what's up with that. And of course like more attack speed with this boy over here, because rogue, attack fast in this thing. Yeah. It felt like the appropriate choice, but of course there's a lot of good aspects you can choose instead, like crits with core, and this one more stun grenade shenanigans. So yeah, there's a lot of, as I said, nothing is set in stone. There's a lot of wiggle room here. And skill tree, yeah, it's just like I changed inner sight to combo points and changed momentum to close quarter combat. That's pretty much it. Apart from that, all the items are the same, and the skills, yeah, dealing heavily on resource regeneration. But yeah, I just want to see where I go with this, but we'll probably have to change a little bit out and take more damaging skills and passives. That's why I think that it's going to be a lot of survivability and resource generation, but not a lot of damage. And like for the pants, yeah, and there's a good source of stealth, but we can also go with Thibault's Will, of course. Since we're gonna be a lot of unstoppable with the concealment, it's just gonna be more damage, so that's also a way to go. And then in Paragon, Yeah, this is like the bread and butter of the build. It's the creme de la creme. What I think is gonna make it, like, get it all online, and that's this node over here, this glyph. Boom, the Night Stalker one. Entering stealth reduces the active cooldown of Shadow Imbuement. So the thought here is like to just be able to have Shadow Imbuement online like 24/7. That's the whole idea here, with all the synergies with concealment and stealth and things. So yeah, I really think this is gonna be a good like AOE build with these synergies. I hope. At least it's gonna be a lot of fun to really play like a fantasy style rogue kind of archetype rogue kind of thing. That's at least what I think. But yeah, apart from that, just they're standard nodes in starter one, and then I went into tricks of the trade. I don't understand why you don't get like information, like the tooltip about it when you hover over it. But there I went with the efficacy glyph, the imbuement skill effects at 20% increased potency, and are good. And find the legend. There, yeah, Marcus get a grant. Yeah, this is why I chose puncture instead of the other basic. So we can roll with this one, get that 25% extra damage. Is kind of good to have. Then just the standard rare ones. Yeah, and then I went with the Eldritch Bounty, and we have that one there. When you attack with an imbued skill, you gain 3% maximum resistance and 20% increased damage for that imbued. That's element for 9 seconds. So yeah, more damage. And there I went with the Devious glyph. That's when you hit an enemy with an attack that applies a crowd control effect, like stuns all the time, or daze from Twisting Blades, or maybe other sources. They take 2% up to 10% increased damage from you for 20 seconds. Yeah, really good. And going forward after that, we have Exploit Weakness. That one. Just when we deal damage to vulnerable enemies, they take 1% increased damage for you for 6 seconds up to 15, so even more damage. And there I went with the Boom Pride Glyph. Oh well, I'll have to look over that. Anyway, we deal 13% in physical damage to both healthy and injured enemies. So yeah, 30% combined with 18%, 31%, right? My quick math, quick enough. So yeah, that's gonna be a lot of like heavy burst damage you can do immediately. Like you throw on the Shadow Imbuement, just the stealth, pop a pack, everyone is vulnerable, boom, you do 31%. That might be enough to just melt a complete room. Who knows? That's what I'm hoping. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And let's see, for the construct, I don't really know. I went with the things that look interesting, like the Flash of Adrenaline administers a quick flash of adrenaline into the player, granting bonus damage for a duration. Sounds good. And then the support ones, like of course the Shaco one, the +4 to all skills for seconds. That just feels like the one you have in the end game, of course. Probably gonna take a while to get that. And the breaking support, damage from the supported skill instantly destroys enemy barrier effects. That sounds like really powerful. In addition, there is a chance to make enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. Yeah, that's good too. And then seeking support, the supported projectile skill will auto-seek enemies for a limited duration. Sounds good, I guess. Then I went with the bushwhack because it's like ambush skill, and it just feels like appropriate for rogue to have like something that ambushes people and monsters. And there I went with the voluminous support. The effect size is increased by 50%. So I guess like it's gonna be a big ambush, I guess. And duration support for the duration skills have the duration increased by 4 seconds. And lastly, tactical support decrease the cooldown of the supported skill. Now I don't know how this construct is gonna work with these like skills and the support and any of this. So these things are just taken based on what I've seen other people take. This is like highly up for debate. What constructs or runes will be good for this kind of build or the rogue in general. But this is just like I just put something in there, okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it. And this is what I'm gonna try to roll with. Heavily stealth focused rogue build with the new aspect, resistant assailant. So yeah, I hope it's gonna be a lot of fun. That's it for me. Thanks, and I'll see you very soon in the new season.